Hello and welcome to our program where each week we'll bring you a series of interviews with people educating and inspiring in the hot topics of health, wellbeing and lifestyle. For our first guest today we have Trudi, the Queen of Shadow Values, who will be talking to us today about embracing our shadow values. Welcome, Trudi. So just firstly, as we go into this discussion on shadow values, what are shadow values for our viewers out there?
Viewers might be able to identify general normal values. So the traditional values of trust and love and respect, those nice values that you're totally happy to share with the world because they feel good. I work with the values on the flip side, which are the shadow values. So these are values that growing up, something's happened, we've been taught to be ashamed of wanting this value, and I illuminate those values. We bring them into the light because when you harness the power of the shadow values, what happens, you use these values to motivate you with your goals, and your life just can take off in ways that never before thought possible. So there's 10, and today obviously we don't have time to go through 10 of them. So I really wanted to share 2 of them today. So I wanted to talk about attention and validation, because when I work with people with these values and they embody it and they get it, their life really does start to transform. So I'll talk to you about attention first, because here we are on TV, like center of attention. So we've embodied this value, right? We feel good about getting attention. But I want to ask the viewers, how many of you out there secretly crave attention, to be seen, to be recognized, but you don't take the action to go out and do it? Especially if you're in business or you're wanting to change your life somehow, get a promotion, receiving attention when it feels good allows you to get what you really want. And then with validation, this is a really interesting one, because quite often when we're growing up and we're like little kids, we're always looking for approval from a parent or a teacher or an older sibling. But if we don't get that approval, we feel bad, and then we start looking for it further and further afield, and we lose trust in our own ability to make decisions for ourselves and to be okay going after what we want. So when we learn to invalidate ourselves internally and stop asking 20 people around us if what we want to do is okay, we just feel better. We start taking action from a place that's so much more inspired. And if we're in business or if we're looking to create something in our life, we get the momentum because we're not constantly having to check in with somebody else.
Trudi, we were talking off camera about imposter syndrome. So could you explain to our viewers something a bit more about imposter syndrome and what it is for them?
Imposter syndrome, which is a person's inability to believe in their own results, no matter how much they've studied, how much effort they've put in, no matter how many times people say good job. That ties in so closely with shadow values and downplayed their results. Chances are, if you're doing that and saying that to yourself, you've got imposter syndrome. And so what happens when you start embodying your shadow values, that little imposter syndrome voice, it just gets quieter and quieter and quieter in your mind, because your shadow values, when you can be comfortable with attention, can validate yourself, and some of the other ones, take control of your own life, honor your own ambitions, own your own superiority, be comfortable receiving money. When you build up all of those, the imposter syndrome stops, because you get comfortable being recognized for who you are. Because it goes back to our beliefs around what we have around who we are, how we show up, what we want to create in the life, and what we think is possible. And beliefs form in childhood, and they're based purely on our experiences, so they're very unique for everyone. And when you can look at your beliefs and see how they've formed patterns growing up and how they shape your life, then you can see these are my values, and they all tie together in a nice little bow. But if you want to start transforming these things, it's like, have a look at where you're putting the brakes on in your life, where you're saying, I can't possibly do that, or I can't receive that, or I'm not worthy. Because when you look at those patterns and those thoughts that you have in your head, that's when you can start creating the change. And it's not something that happens overnight. It's something that you chip away at every day. And you would start with the value of attention. And it's like, where do I not feel comfortable receiving attention? And one of the ladies I worked with, she didn't feel comfortable going out in a pretty dress and wearing lipstick. So she decided one day, because she'd received negative attention in the past, she decided that she was better than the past, and she wanted to reinvent the story that she was telling herself. So she got up one morning, she put on the nice dress, did her lipstick, did up her hair, and she walked down the street. And she'd made the decision when she was walking down the street to hold herself high, to smile at people, and be comfortable in that moment.
So with that education that you've received in your own life about imposter syndrome, about shadow values and how all of these things play out for you, what really inspired you to look further into your own life and how that existed there?
Yeah. I didn't have exactly a happy life, and there were times when I didn't want to be here anymore. And I got to a point in my life where I really had to make the decision, how do I want to feel? How do I want to show up? How do I want to be seen in this world? And what kind of legacy do I want to leave? And that took me on a journey of learning about life coaching, neuro-linguistic programming, energy work. I've got so many qualifications, it's ridiculous. But it started with that decision to go, I want more. I deserve more. I'm worthy of more. I gave myself permission to be the person that I always knew I was here to be. In spite of the pain and the trauma and the disappointments, I decided to look beyond that and go, I'm here for so much more. And embracing all of those values, and it just changed everything. And so that's why I'm here to share that work.
And also, as a last takeaway for the audience, what would you say to them as a suggestion for them to take away from today?
One of the biggest lessons I learnt in life was that permission, it all starts with you. Now, I could have decided to stay miserable, but I decided I wanted more. So I gave myself permission, and then I looked at the decisions that I was making, and I decided to make different decisions. And from those decisions came smart choices. So for me, it's permission, decisions, choices.
Thank you, Trudi. And for more information about embracing your shadow values, please go to our website.